సికిల్ సెల్ ఎనీమియాను గుర్తించేందుకు తాము అభివృద్ధి చేసిన పరీక్షా విధానంతో ఎంతో ప్రయోజనం ఉందని సికిల్ సెల్ ఎనీమియా నేషనల్ మిషన్ డైరెక్టర్ గిరిరాజ్ రతన్ చందక్ తెలిపారు. ముఖ్యంగా చిన్నారులకు పరీక్షలు చేయడంలో ఇది ఎంతో ఉపయుక్తంగా ఉంటుందని వివరించారు. తమ చౌక పరీక్షా విధానంతో బాధితులను గుర్తించి ఆరంభ దశలోనే చికిత్స అందించేందుకు వీలు కలుగుతుందని తెలిపారు. చేతి వేలి నుంచి ఒక చుక్క రక్తం సేకరించడం ద్వారా పరీక్ష చేసే విధానాన్ని అభివృద్ధి చేసినట్లు గిరిరాజ్ రతన్ చందక్ వెల్లడించారు. దీనిలో నొప్పి ఉండదని, సేకరించిన రక్తాన్ని ఏళ్లపాటు నిల్వ చేయవచ్చని ఈటీవీ ముఖాముఖిలో తెలిపారు.
ప్రస్తుతం మనతో పాటు సికిల్ సెల్ ఎనీమియా నేషనల్ మిషన్ డైరెక్టర్ గిరిరాజ్ రతన్ చండక్ గారు ఉన్నారు. సార్తో మాట్లాడదాం. సార్, హౌ కెన్ వి ఫైండ్ దట్ సికిల్ సెల్ ఎనీమియా ఈస్ ఎఫెక్టెడ్ అస్?
So sickle cell anemia is a genetic disorder. It has some clinical features, like it starts very early in childhood. The child gets tired very quickly because the child has very less hemoglobin. Then the child has always a pain in different parts of the body, particularly in the joints, lower limb joints, and also suffers from a need of blood transfusion because the sickle cells they get destroyed, and that is why hemoglobin levels much lower.
You came up with a test, right? Yeah. Today. So could you please elaborately explain what is that?
So as I said that there are various tests which are possible, but they all are not molecular tests. They only detect at the biochemical level. So the tests that we and those tests require blood collection through the vein, which means it requires a syringe, a needle, a vacutainer and all that. So what we did was we developed a test where only a small drop of blood is taken from a finger prick, which is also almost a painless finger prick through a lancet, and then that blood is collected on a filter paper. On that filter paper, this blood can be stored for years. It can be transported on room temperature, and then from that a small punch of that whole blood spot is directly put up for PCR, and then the detection can take place in many ways. The advantage is that first of all, there is a very small amount of blood taken. It's a painless exercise. No infrastructure, no cold storage, anything is required. And plus, the blood sample remains in storage for years to come for any other thing that can be possible. So this increases the compliance of the individuals, including, small children from whom it is very difficult to collect the blood from the veins.
As a mission director, tell us this, sir. How many test samples were you collected so far? So how is the percentage of patients and the carriers?
It's a very good question, because when we started few years back, there was a dilemma about what is the prevalence of carriers and the patients. So we, under this sickle cell anemia mission from CSIR, we screened about 28 to 30 lakh individuals in the state of Chhattisgarh, Maharashtra, and what we found that the carrier prevalence was something between 8 to 10%, and patient was about 0.8 to 1%. Now this prevalence was very different from what was earlier thought of, and hence it became a landmark work which provided an idea of the estimate of sickle cell anemia burden in the country.
If you observe, there is much difference between carriers and the patients. So is there any chance by taking treatment to reduce all the patients, sir?
So there are two aspects to this. One is that if any patient is there, the treatment has to be started very early on, because as the disease advances, different joints, there can be many other problems which can happen. So for them, early diagnosis means that hydroxyurea treatment can be given early. This is something which is for the current generation of people who are patients. But if we want to eliminate the disease, then it is important to identify the carriers, because this is a genetic disorder which needs that the defective gene comes from both the mother and the father, by preventing the marriage of a carrier with another carrier, there will be no chance that a patient will be born. And even if there are some carrier couples, it is important to identify them, because if the lady gets pregnant, then during certain stage of early pregnancy, a sample can be collected from inside the womb, and a similar molecular test can be conducted to identify whether the baby in the womb is affected or normal. So using this kind of combined comprehensive approach, the disease burden can be first reduced, and then slowly over a period of time it can be completely eliminated.
Particularly tribal vulnerable groups are there, no? In like Kotagudem or else in Maharashtra, Chhattisgarh. So how you are working there, sir?
We have developed the test, and because health is a state or a central government subject, so we are largely working through Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, through Ministry of Health, and also through the state national health missions. So state national health missions have been given the mandate under National Sickle Cell Anemia Mission to conduct this screening, identify the carriers, do their counseling, identify patients, provide them treatment. So we actively engage with them and also with the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare to see that this test is made available to the population there. So in that effect, our test got included in the National Sickle Cell Anemia portal last year sometime. Since then, we are working with various state national health mission, because there is already a wonderful setup through National Health Mission right up to the village level. Every individual in the village is catered by ASHA workers. Hence, that is the best way that this test, the screening and identification of carriers and patients can be done throughout this country.
In your presentation, we can see that only 17 states are involved in this. So why don't we take up this for all the nations?
So this 17 states are decided based on the preliminary data over last several years. So these states have large chunk of tribal population, and there already certain screening done earlier has shown that sickle cell anemia is very high over there. Other states, there is no existence or very limited existence of sickle cell anemia. Hence, these are the states where this screening is starting.
What is the final aim of the central government and CCMB and Tata Steel Foundations?
So I think that is where all of us are on the same mission, that as you know that we started this mission much before National Sickle Cell Mission came. Started in 2018 in a comprehensive manner. We were not looking at screening only. We were trying to develop new drugs. We were trying to develop this test for early screening. We also were trying to find a treatment by using gene editing. So this National Sickle Cell Anemia Mission, when it has come, we were already prepared. We have been able to translate our test into the screening, and once the screening is there, the hydroxyurea treatment and other things can go. So the overall idea of CCMB will be to expand it to various parts of the country, wherever it is possible, to train the people, to take them to various testing facilities, develop the facility at their own place also, so that they can become self-sustaining. With Tata Steel Foundation, we are currently looking it as another state which is Jharkhand. And I am aware that in Jharkhand, the screening has not been quite frequent. Plus, we understand that the data is very patchy, so it may not reflect the true disease burden. So through Tata Steel Foundation, we hope that we will be able to make a difference in the eastern part of the country. They work in Jharkhand, then Odisha, West Bengal and other places, which are the states included in the National Sickle Cell Anemia Mission. So overall, I would say there is no dichotomy between three of us. All three are ultimately, determined to contribute to reducing this burden. As a developer of this test, CSR CCMB will be the nodal lab which will provide this test to all the people, whoever is interested in this. And I think that organizations like Tata Steel Foundation or other patient support groups or NGOs will liaise with the health authorities in every state and facilitate this whole execution of this test. Thank you very much. Yeah.
ఈ మొత్తంగా CCMB డైరెక్టర్తో పాటు అటు నేషనల్ మిషన్ డైరెక్టర్ అట్లాగే టాటా స్టీల్ ఫౌండేషన్ వాళ్ళు చెప్తున్నటువంటి విషయాలు. కెమెరామెన్ మల్లికార్జున్తో శివరామకృష్ణ ప్రసాద్, ETV న్యూస్, హైదరాబాద్.